I guess the first thing is maybe just state your general concerns about the state of kind of the online world and our privacy.
Well, in general, I would say we're in the wild, wild west because everything just moves so quickly. Regulation can never catch up. And not to say that necessarily regulation is the best route, because sometimes market forces also can dictate a really good way to get companies to be better at protecting people's privacy. But it's really the wild west, and regulation is catching up, but I don't think it's there yet. And with the pace of technology moving, and then of course you have bad actors, they move just at the same fastest rate also. So really what it comes down to is best practices.
So, what do companies do when it comes to the data that they collect, and who's collecting that data, and basically what are the protections that are available right now?
Well, of course, it depends on jurisdiction, right? The EU has the GDPR, which is, a much more restrictive regulation, and so does California, where they have the Consumer Protection Act. And in Canada, we are in the process. We were going to have before the election, the federal election was called again. It's being revamped. It hasn't come out, but different jurisdictions have different requirements and rules.
Right.
Some are more restrictive, some are more lenient. But overall, there's a common theme: compliance with certain types of things of personal identifiable information, which is usually referred to as PII. And then there's PHI, which is personal health information, which is considered sacrosanct. And why? It's because bad actors really like to get a hold of it because it goes for a lot of money on the deep dark web. Because insurance companies, many people have private insurance extended carriers. And if they have this personal health information, they may be able to access this, and they can get pharmaceutical drugs and then put it on the streets. So it ends up being another deeper, darker world, and that's why I say we're in the Wild West yet. We're not 100% there catching up.
Yeah, I think you've raised an interesting point that there is kind of nefarious criminal element use of our personal information, and then there's the vacuuming up of massive amounts of data about us that is used by corporations. Right? There's almost two issues here, not just one.
Yes, because before we had the internet and all these like great tools that can capture information so quickly, people normally what they used to do, I don't know if you remember back in those days where it's like, oh, you want to enter a contest or you want to free
Right.
something, you'd write your name on a piece of paper with your phone number, your address, and maybe somebody would call you up. And that was as far as it went. And maybe you'd have somebody who would do data input into a computer on a DOS computer. But that's as far as it went. Now it's like, people are like, you got automatic things on your phone where people could just plug in the information, it's sent to them. And it's very easy to get data, and it's also very easy to hack. So because of the accessibility of how easy it is, it becomes more prevalent. And of course, bad actors are going to be bad actors. It just depends. What are you going to do? How are you going to steal? Are you going to steal cars, or are you going to steal personal information?
Yeah.
I mean, it's really the talent skill that they have.
Yeah, indeed. No, that's a great way to put it. We've got just about a minute left, but I'd like to get started on a couple of egregious cases of privacy violations. The one that comes to mind immediately is BetMGM. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so it's an online betting company where people go in and they give in their personal information, which of course is necessary for a company like that because the whole part of the process is that you have an account. When you have an account, you need to have certain personal identifiable information over there. So that's understandable why they're doing that. But the only problem is that the protections weren't there. Now, they only recently found out and declared with a statement in December 2022 that there was an actual indeed breach, but they realized that the breach was likely to be had in May 2022. So we're looking at a huge time delay here. And then furthermore, the hacker has gone online to say that he's going to sell all this information onto the deep dark web, which is pretty bad because there's about 8 different factors that he has to sell. And all of these things combined is extremely, extremely valuable.
Mm-hmm. And so that was just one case. We'll get to another case that I want to ask you about as well, but we're going to take a brief break. We'll be back after these messages. Please stay with us.